Welcome to Housing Circles, thoughtful expertise for evolving communities. Let's begin.
Redevelopment promises a seamless upgrade. You sign a contract, move out for a year or two, and return to a pristine glass tower. But across urban centers, hundreds of these projects are frozen in time, leaving residents staring at abandoned concrete skeletons. Housing societies often misclassify redevelopment as a standard construction contract, overlooking the fact that they are executing a high-risk, irreversible transfer of multi-generational property equity to a third-party developer. Older, multi-story apartment blocks may look physically weathered, but they sit on highly coveted urban land. That underlying land holds immense concentrated value. When it comes time to monetize that land, managing committees almost universally fall into an operational trap known as the highest bidder fallacy. Instead of auditing the developer's balance sheet, committees evaluate proposals based on back-end promises. They look for the highest corpus fund and the largest increase in extra carpet area. Choosing a developer based on projected yields rather than upfront capital is the leading cause of stalled projects and permanently displaced residents. If the builder lacks cash today, those future returns will never materialize. A glossy brochure offers a false sense of security. The legal reality often looks like this MADA running signboard, a disputed plot of land locked in government litigation and territorial disputes. A housing society is gambling its single most valuable asset. Implementing a ruthless, objective due diligence framework is the only defense against total financial ruin. To protect that asset, you must shift your focus entirely away from what the developer promises to pay the society and audit the capital the developer currently holds. This requires applying the pocket-first rule. A viable developer must possess enough upfront capital to sustain construction without relying strictly on future flat sales. This flowchart compares two capital models. A pocket-first developer maintains an unbroken flow of capital from their reserves directly to the site. Conversely, a high-yield developer relies on pre-sales. If the market cools and sales dry up, the capital flow breaks instantly, stalling the project. Committees must demand specific financial documentation upfront, fully audited balance sheets, and verified proof of funding capability for the entire project. They must also verify the developer's history of securing bank guarantees. A bank guarantee protects the society's equity if the builder defaults mid-construction. The refusal or inability to provide those bank guarantees is the earliest, most accurate warning sign of a financially distressed builder. Financially weak developers know they cannot pass this audit. To compensate, they often employ aggressive, high-pressure sales tactics to force early agreements. They will insist on rapid approvals to bypass the exact financial vetting process required to keep your society safe. A developer's verified financial solvency dictates the survival of the project. The size of the promised corpus fund is irrelevant because a stalled project yields zero returns. Financial audits must be paired with an assessment of physical execution. When you look at the sheer density of a standard urban grid, the multi-tiered architecture and crowded retail facades, the logistical complexity becomes obvious. Building on an empty suburban plot is straightforward. Actual society redevelopment requires a highly specialized skill set. It involves managing delicate tenant relocations, navigating a maze of municipal legal approvals, and executing structural integration in tightly packed neighborhoods. You audit this experience through objective regulatory data. State portals like Maharera provided developers exact execution history, including specific fields for litigation and project delays. Committees must actively search these portals for negative markers. Repeated rule violations or active legal disputes indicate a high probability of future delays. The ultimate, undeniable metric of a developer's reliability is their track record of securing occupancy certificates, or OCs. Successfully securing an OC is mathematical proof that the builder complied with all legal, structural, and civic regulations from start to finish. If a developer fails to secure an OC, residents are forced to live in uncertified buildings. This triggers severe civic penalties and crushes the property's resale value. Finally, investigate the current maintenance and structural state of their older completed projects. Do not base your decision on a freshly painted day one sample flat. Glossy marketing materials are fiction designed to sell. Objective regulatory data and a documented history of legal execution are the only true predictors of future performance. Once a developer passes the financial and regulatory audits, that diligence must be codified into the legally binding development agreement. Ambiguous contract terms are toxic. They allow developers to bleed the society through hidden costs and extend construction timelines indefinitely without facing any penalties. Every vague timeline must be replaced with fixed completion timelines, tied directly to severe, enforceable financial penalties. Next, the agreement must detail structural rent payouts that explicitly include mandatory escalation over time. You must also lock in a minimum 36-month strict defect liability. Committees must close all exit strategy loopholes. The developer cannot have the legal clearance to abandon a difficult project without facing extreme financial consequences. Approving these contracts requires strict internal governance. In places like Maharashtra, this means adhering to the Section 79A guidelines. The law requires a fully transparent tendering process, culminating in a mandatory video-recorded general body meeting with a minimum 51% approval. Adhering strictly to this legal framework prevents internal committee corruption and ensures the most vulnerable residents are not exploited by inside deals. Verbal assurances are legally inert. If a protection, a timeline, or a penalty is not explicitly written into the final agreement, it does not exist. Managing committees must immediately abandon the mindset of asking, who is paying us the most? That must be replaced with a single, permanent operational question. Who is legally and financially guaranteed to finish this building? Spotting aggressive sales tactics and rejecting unrealistic promises early is the single most effective way to avoid years of displacement. A successful redevelopment rests on 3 pillars: verified solvency, an executed track record, and bulletproof contracts. Professional, emotionless due diligence serves as the absolute, non-negotiable defense for protecting a society's multi-generational property rights.
Thank you for watching. We trust this added value. Share and subscribe to remain updated, and let us know if there's a topic you'd like us to explore.